Let me turn to the Prince of Darkness, 50 years reporting Washington. Why are you the Prince of Darkness?
A reporter, old reporter for Washington Post at that time, John J. Lindsay, said we used to cover the Senate together and talk about things, and he thought I was so gloomy about the future Western civilization. I was all of about 28 years old then, that he thought I was the Prince of Darkness. And the name stuck. A lot of people call me the Prince of Darkness, though, because I'm for small government, low taxes, and individual economic freedom. And of course, a lot of people, even a couple of them at this table, think that makes you the Prince of Darkness.
No, I just think it makes you wrong.
You begin the book, as you might expect, a discussion of the whole Valerie Plame situation. Let me read a little bit and talk about it. I was ushered into Deputy Secretary of State Richard Armitage's office promptly at 3 p.m., July 8, 2003. Neither of us set ground rules for my visit. I assume, however, that what Armitage said would not be attributed to him, but would not be off the record. That is, I could write about information he gave me, but would not identify him by name. I then asked Armitage a question. Why would the CIA send Joseph Wilson on the mission to Niger? Well, Armitage replied, you know his wife works at the CIA, and she suggested that he be sent to Niger. His wife works at the CIA, I asked? Yeah, in counterproliferation, he said. He mentioned her by first name, Valerie. Armitage smiled and said, that's real Evans and Novak, isn't it? Suggesting a green light to print it in your mind.
That's right, of course.
Then you go on to say, in the book, Senior White House advisor Karl Rove returned my call late that afternoon, July 8, 2003, the same day. I mentioned I had heard that Wilson's wife worked at the CIA in the counterproliferation section and that she had suggested Wilson be sent to Niger. I distinctly remember Rove's reply, quote, oh, you know that too. Rove and I also discussed other aspects of Wilson's mission, but since he never has disclosed them publicly, neither have I. So you considered Rove's comments, oh, you know that too, as a confirmation.
Yes, and of course there's also a third source, and that was the public relations man at the CIA, Bill Harlow, who admitted, confirmed that she worked in the counterproliferation division, but he said that she didn't suggest that her husband go. I think that was an incorrect information he gave me, but I also put that in the column that a source from the CIA said she did not suggest her husband make the mission.
In hindsight, should you have identified Valerie Plame as a CIA agent?
There was no indication by the official spokesman for the CIA or anybody else that anybody was put in danger, that I certainly didn't get a direct call from George Tenet, the CIA director, who I knew, and if he wanted to stop me from doing it, he could have. So I saw there was no pressure for me. They asked me not to use the name, but didn't say there was anybody in danger or there was any security violation as a result.
The president said early on in this that if anyone broke the law, that he would deal with it. And now he's saying, well, I wish that someone had come forward and raised their hand and said this had happened, but let's move on.
Well, Mr. Armitage did come forward. Before a special prosecutor was even named, he had, after a story appeared in which I said there was not a partisan gunslinger who gave me the information, he identified himself to the Justice Department, so that did come forward. And of course, the long investigation by Mr. Fitzgerald, the special prosecutor, came after he knew who had been the leaker, and had made a decision, obviously, that no law had been broken, because nobody was ever Mr. Armitage was not prosecuted, nobody else was prosecuted.
Al Hunt, what do we learn from all this?
From the book or the Valerie Plame story? The Valerie Plame story, I think we learned a lot about some of the problems the press has in Washington. Not Bob, I think more others. And I think Bob, in fact, got a bum rap from some people. The book, if I could turn to the book just for a second, I must tell you, it's a fabulous book, and I say that as someone who thinks that Novak has more wrong views than anyone I've ever met in my life. I mean, he really does believe that tax cuts can solve hemorrhoids, but once he gets rid of those silly ideological views, he's a great reporter.
Wait a minute. He talks about you in the book, that he thought you were a Cleveland Park kind of... what would you say?
Liberal.
Yeah, but he got to know you on the campaign trail. You talked about politics, sports. Then you went to a dinner party in 1981. Both got drunk and had a knockdown, drag-out battle about tax policy.
Yeah.
You know, where I come from, we argue about women, football, tax policy.
Tim, it was even worse. That was Chuck Grassley was at that party, the new senator from Iowa, and he'd been here for 3 months, and he was so stunned that he told me 4 months ago, he said, I'll never forget that night. He said, you guys were unbelievable, and you can't believe you're friends, but we get over it.